What's up, Iowa fans? Tyler Tashman here with the Des Moines Register, coming to you on December 3rd, 2025, the first day of the early signing period, and just kind of wanted to recap what went down today. Iowa signs 22 players, 18 of which were on scholarship, 4 preferred walk-ons. And I want to preface this by saying that I think it's kind of common knowledge that high school recruiting rankings and evaluations can be a slippery slope. Iowa is a great example of that because they find and develop diamonds in the rough and turn them into much more than maybe the recruiting analysts first thought that they could be. Riley Moss was a 2-star prospect, Josie Jewell, same thing, and they both turned out more than fine. So just take the recruiting rankings and evaluations with a grain of salt. That said, I think it's acceptable to kind of take a step back and applaud what Iowa's done in this class. It's been fluctuating a little bit, but as I speak, Iowa is ranked 27th nationally in the 2026 high school recruiting class. That's by the 247 Sports Composite. All the rankings that I'm going to use as I go through it in the next few minutes are going to be by the 247 Sports Composite. But right now, 27th nationally, that would be just the second time in the last 15 years that Iowa has a recruiting class in the 20s nationally. So it's not something that happens a ton for Iowa. This is on paper, a really good class for the Hawkeyes. The last time Iowa was in the 20s nationally was the 2021 class, and that group had Connor Colby, Cooper DeJean, Bo Stevens, Jennings Dunker, and Max Llewellyn. So if this group produces another Super Bowl champion as a NFL rookie, I think that would probably qualify as a success. The 2026 class is one of the best classes that Iowa has on paper coming in the last 2 decades. So let's dive into it a little bit. There are some promising pieces for the future of the passing game. We saw Iowa's quarterback play finally get moving in the right direction with Mark Gronowski in 2025, but the passing game is still a work in progress. In 2026, Iowa brings in Trayden Bessinger. He was a former Boise State commit. He's a 4-star recruit. And this is just the caliber of quarterback that Iowa isn't necessarily used to getting. Tyler Barnes said on Wednesday that he has really live arm, really whippy arm, can really throw it. He's the 11th best quarterback nationally. For a passing game that's really lacked, this is a good sign for what the future of the room could look like when you already have Hank Brown and Jeremy Hecklinski and Jimmy Sullivan in the pipeline. And then on the receiving end of things, you have 4-star tight end Luke Brewer from the state of Iowa. He reclassified from 2027 to 2026, had a laundry list of offers. That's a big get for Iowa. And then beyond Bessinger and Luke Brewer, Iowa brings in 3-star receivers. The most recent to commit, Xavier Stinson, after he decommitted from UCLA, he had offers from the likes of Wisconsin, Cincinnati, Kentucky, Illinois, and Iowa won out. So there's pieces here in this class to give at least some hope and optimism for what Iowa's passing game could look like in the future. Iowa's offensive line has returned to the program standard the last 2 seasons under position coach George Barnett. And this recruiting group coming in, they have what appears to be a loaded offensive line class. 5 offensive linemen signed, 3 of whom are 4-star prospects. If you look at the top 7 ranked guys in Iowa's class, 3 of them are offensive linemen. Waterloo West's Carson Nielsen is 3rd, Gene Reardon 6th, Hudson Parliament 7th. So not only is there a high volume of offensive linemen in this class, but the quality is also there. We'll see how these guys turn out, but on paper, it looks like George Barnett just hit this class out of the park on the recruiting trail. And then Iowa has really kept in-state talent home. If you look at the top 8 ranked prospects in the 2026 class in the state of Iowa, 5 of them have signed with Iowa, including the top 3. Iowa City West, Julian Manson is 1, Carson Nielsen is 2, linebacker Kason Thomas is 3rd, and then you have Brewer 7th and Colin Witters 8th. Two of those guys have come from Iowa's backyard, basically, in Julian Manson and Colin Witter. So Iowa did a really good job in this class of keeping that in-state talent home. And we know the track record that Seth Wallace has had developing linebackers. There's a trio of them in this class, highlighted by Julian Manson, the number one player in the state of Iowa. And then Kason Thomas, also a four-star, alongside Julian Manson. Those are both guys who I just mentioned who are from the state of Iowa. And alongside that pair, you have three-star Billy Wevoda from Milton High School in Georgia. So three guys, a trio that looks like they have legit potential at a position where Iowa has a sustained track record of developing. And don't forget about what Phil Parker can do with the DBs. And four-star Darren Jones, he is the highest rated defensive back to sign with Iowa since Xavier Wampa. This was someone who came from Omaha North High School, and his brother plays for Nebraska. This was another win for Iowa over Nebraska, this time on the recruiting trail. What didn't come in the form of a 40-16 win in Lincoln, but this one still notable. And Tyler Barnes, Iowa's general manager and chief of staff, said, thank God that Darren is a Hawkeye fan because he is very talented. If you watch the senior film, he can run, he's long, he's a really smart kid. When you get someone like that who has that pedigree, he's a four-star guy, get him into Phil Parker's development system similar to what Seth Wallace has had such success with the linebackers. But Iowa just thrives so much getting these maybe guys who are overlooked. And then when they do get some of these more talented guys, it opens your eyes a little bit to just how good they can be. And I think we saw that with Xavier Wampa this past season as a senior, where he really blossomed and was playing the best football of his college career and really looked like that highly touted recruit that people hoped he'd be. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Hopefully that was informative, and I'll talk to you all soon.